Get going on this October meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. We'll start by doing a roll call, and I'm here, Chair Parsons, Commissioner Kerr,
Here.
Commissioner Frazier, C, Commissioner Dia.
Here.
You are. And Commissioner Lamberson. You heard. Commissioner Christensen
Here.
and Commissioner Stackhouse.
Saw him walk by, so I bet he'll be here any minute.
He'll be here shortly, so we'll get through our land acknowledgement. And apparently, Councilmember Garcia is not going to be with us because he's en route to some other meeting. So, land acknowledgement, the Flagstaff Parks and Recreation Commission. Commissioner Stackhouse just is joining us. You. Online.
Wasn't showing. Good to know, because we don't know where Commissioner Lamberson is.
I shared that link.
Yeah. Okay.
I clicked on the link and it would never let me in.
Let you in.
Yeah, so
Maybe the case for her too. Good.
I have no idea.
Well, the Flagstaff Parks and Recreation Commission humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands still inhabited by native descendants border mountain sacred indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate the past, present, and future generations who will forever know their place as home. Very good. We have two sets of agenda meetings to approve. Do we have to do those separately or those can be combined?
Separately.
So let's move forward with looking at the August minutes for the August Parks and Rec Commission meeting. Those were posted as part of the package. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those. If you have and you don't have anything to add, we can take a motion to approve. If you have something to add, take notice of that. Do we have a motion to approve?
Approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion approved by Commissioner Diab and a second by Commissioner Stackhouse. All those in favor of approving the August meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Those opposed, say nay. We have a unanimous consent, so we'll call those the August meeting minutes as approved. And as you remember, our September meeting was our combined meeting with Open Space Commission. And so those meeting minutes were also posted. So again, if you have nothing to object to in those minutes, we can take a motion to approve.
Are these a separate set of minutes? Yes.
Yeah, this is for the September, our combined
Okay.
commission meeting. with Open
The first one was for August. So this is September. Got it.
Correct.
Sorry, I'm keeping up. Hang on.
Okay, it's all right. So anyone want to make a motion to approve the September combined commission meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Christensen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Stackhouse. All those in favor of approving the September meeting minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have unanimous consent. The September meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. Okay. On public comment. This portion of the meeting is for items that are not on the agenda. Commission cannot act on items presented during the public participation of the agenda. The commission is prohibited by the open meeting law from discussing or considering the item until the item is officially placed on an agenda. If there are any comments, please limit those comments to 5 minutes. Didn't see anyone public, so I'm going to make the assumption we do not have any public comment at this time. Very good. Moving right along. So we'll move right into our discussion items. And the first item of discussion, A, is athletic allocation changes for 2026. So, are you reading this on that or that's you?
Neely Reynolds, the events and marketing manager. I also oversee adult athletics and our allocation process for youth athletics. After pretty lengthy discussion with staff, we determined that the need for the athletic allocation process just needed a revamp due to new user groups, FUSD field changes, schedule changes, and seeing like large fluctuation with our user group headcounts. In the past and including this year, the allocation process for youth sports is based on historic precedents. So we have the bulk of our fields allocated to 4 user groups, and we have 12 user groups that need space. It doesn't open the opportunity for a new user group to come in or even peel out of an existing one and be able to not have to communicate with them to have their. That was a huge issue this year. Just for reference, we have a new soccer league. And I think they serve about 95 kids right now and 4 new baseball groups. And all of that baseball allocation was going to one group. So towards the end of August, we hosted a public meeting with all of the user groups at play, specifically just for youth sports. All allocations are pretty minimal. We just have 2 groups and they get 1 field 1 day a week. So it's not a huge need. Everybody came in, we hosted that in-person meeting, did make that mandatory so that everybody could be represented, hear the reasoning for that change. And then we broke them into, I want to say small groups, but if you were at the baseball table, it was not a small group. Broke them up by sport to help to start identify what they think their needs are going to be. Moving forward, that allocation will be based off of true needs. So your number, we need your registration numbers in advance to actually properly allocate the field. We're going to break that up into multiple seasons. So spring, summer, fall, with some of the leniency of like your baseball. If you go into all stars, that's going to pivot how much space you actually need and how long your true season is going to be. Stuff like that. Receive pretty positive feedback overall. Definitely hearing that there's going to be that's a large change for a couple of our user groups to swallow. There's always going to be that concern because they just want to make sure they have space. We will be meeting with all of our soccer groups in a couple weeks again to figure out what their needs are for spring because they have their club season already identified through, I think, the end of April. And then we'll begin allocating in February of next year. That season is April through the end of November. It also adjusts the fees that they pay us, not necessarily the dollar amount, but a true recreational league will continue to pay per child, regardless of the amount of fields that they're using. One time, a competitive team or a club team is going to pay per hour per field, as well as for their lights, which I think will see a huge decrease in the ask or what they think they might be needing. Because when you're paying for all of that space, you're going to be more efficient with how you use it. Overall, I don't think we've really gotten any overly negative feedback. I think we'll have some large things to work through in the spring just to see how it goes, but that'll be.
What are the biggest differences from how it operates now to, what are the impacts upon those different teams or leagues or?
It allows everybody to have an opportunity to receive space for themselves rather than you, commissioner, needing to connect with Amy for a field underneath their allocation and working around their practice schedule. So it gives you the opportunity to actually come in and secure space for your team rather than relying on somebody.
What were there, I mean, you said there weren't negative. What were there any concerns that were like at the top of the list?
I think the biggest concern was what if what if you identify a season, like a season time frame, and our season doesn't fall exactly into that? Girls, that was expressed by girls softball specifically, because they go through June, and most spring sports end in May. And those are things that we'll work through to make sure that they have the space that they need. We're not gonna we're not gonna have you cut your season short. Because we didn't identify that as summer or spring. I think that would be the large one.
I think that was a large one, and also organization, because they may not have known how all of our basically athletic field spaces are used. We don't have just soccer fields, just football fields, just baseball fields, and just softball fields. All the spaces are used literally for all sports, including the spaces through our intergovernmental agreement with FUSD, for a very few of the FUSD school fields. It put that into perspective, because just like any of us, you might just have blinders on of well, this is the sport I coach or my kid is involved in, and not realize that there's all these other youth and with quantity of registration numbers out there that we've got to find field space for. I think everyone knew, but the largest commodity, if you will, that's out there are lighted field space. Because already it's getting dark by 6 p.m. and by the time these children are out of school and then heading to a practice, we have very few lighted, basically outfields of ball fields are where those exist. So we're putting all sorts of sports on that too in these fall and early winter months and then early spring. So I think, we knew that was the case, but we needed that just to be discussed in an open format. And then, like Haley articulated, is our outdoor field season for Flagstaff is April 1st to November 30th. But some of these sports, they've got a season that's outside that window. So they're going inside places, whether if it's with our own gymnasiums at our rec centers, YMCA, athletic club, NAU, and FUSD for indoor space. So we want to look at a way, is there a good way to break this down into separate chunks versus a full calendar year? And say, Tyrone Johnson LLC, you get this field April through November, but he may not need that for whatever he's offering to the youth, or whatever sport they're putting on. So it really started to shake some of that out. And we need to think about it differently. It's a much larger city than what it used to be, hopefully with more youth playing sports. And that's what we want to see. And we want to be able to effectively provide that space for anyone to play whatever sport that they've are registered to play. And so we need to find out how many youth are actually even playing these sports, and that may change. And I think in some of the conversations, I know each of us, we didn't have Tyrone there that night on purpose, since athletics used to be in his world for, gosh, 15 plus years. And we needed to find out, like, what truly are the numbers that are out there, and that may change depending on the season. And summertime tends to go like purely almost recreational sports, but with some club baseball or extensions of a baseball season if you've got a team doing really well and moving through a process. And that's interesting enough, because that's when you look at our state, Flagstaff's the prime location to play due to weather, versus some of our valley and Tucson and even western cities. So it really just starts to bring all that to light, and it's a giant puzzle. And how the heck do you make it all work? So we know it's a big change for our local athletic groups, big time. And we understand that it's a big change, and we also want to honor that and appreciate that, and we need to work together to make this work for the better. Because the most frustrating thing for anyone is to drive by, not only see a field lit and no one on it, because who knows what's occurring for that particular user group that has that permit. But if you're someone who we've had to deny because someone else has that space already booked and paid for, and then you drive by and see we're just creating problems for our community members, and we know that. So we want to fix that as best as possible. So it'll be new for everyone. We know that we may have hiccups with it. We know that we may, rattle some cages with it too. But just like any new process, everyone eventually sees the positive out of it, and we hope it's a good outcome. Yes.
So eventually, once you get more realistic numbers on usage, would it be added to the budget to do more lighting for these fields?
Um, adding lighting is a really expensive adventure, without a doubt. And then there might be some other circumstances, there deed restrictions on a property when the ball field or whatever was developed to not enable lights. We just know, you quickly see how much of a need that is just seasonally, right? Um, so, we would love to, with that future capital project we've talked about out at Cheshire Park with the running track and the multi-purpose field, would love to have lights on that, because that could open up quite a bit more September through November and April through May, for sure, for folks after school. Don't know if we'll be able to afford it, and if we can't, can we at least get the underground guts involved with it so that someday you could? Because going back, say, let's see, a ball field without lights, the Little League fields along Aztec Street near Thorpe Park, no lights. I can't imagine if we had to go in and install lighting, how much would get ripped up to make it happen. And I think a lot of, and then I think you physically would be taking those out of operation for use when you've got that much construction activity going on, kind of thing. I do think that, but when we have new actual ball field or soccer field or football field projects, we need to always consider lighting for the future, even for 20 years from now, for this community, knowing that that's just naturally what occurs. Yeah, I think a great question. Gosh, Gino, I think last time we priced out lighting, it was probably gonna be 250,000-ish.
uh, for a new construct, like.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably closer to half, and that was more retrofit.
Retro-
For some existing, you guys about 250. We're looking at easily 500 for.
Like one field, do you think? Yeah.
You have to like get all of the equipment to wire it kind of thing. If there's existing lighting.
Exactly, the retrofit, we've explored those options, this existing retrofit LED for cost savings.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the conduits are there.
Exactly, yeah, big enough to replace the mast on your pole, the infrastructure is there, and that's, a quarter of it.
We do on the pros unfunded capital list do have like LED lighting upgrades where lighting exists today. We're able to tackle some of that with the sport court project at Bushmaster, but we have all these other locations with some pretty old lighting, that would take, some serious funds to upgrade those.
How many total soccer fields and baseball fields do you have?
There's 22, if you combine them all.
Like 22 athletic fields.
Yeah, they're
Cause again, we're fitting like a soccer field in the outfield of a softball field. We're doing whatever we can.
So that's 20, you could run 22 soccer games in Flagstaff all at the same time.
depends on the size that you need. So we have 17 fields that are either baseball or softball, and then 4 truly multi-purpose fields. But if you need a full-size soccer field, I think the only true option is Fox Glen.
I think you could you could fit 2 at Fox Glen and 1 at Thorpe multipurpose.
But for the most part, this is youth stuff, so it's like you're cutting those fields in half, so
For the
realistically.
young youth, I think it's maybe age like 12 and above for the sport of soccer is on a full-size field.
So are we like with the land that we have right now, are we accommodating everybody? Or are we having to say
For
no?
practice, almost, there are for the teenage and high school aged, there are no, with the club soccer, no games played in the city of Flagstaff at all.
We practice here, but then they have to go through the games. It's similar to what Derby does.
Whenever
I mean, I guess they can go to the high school. I mean, the high school has its own.
Does NAU have one and that's not considered part of yours?
NEU, it is, NEU is separate,
Right.
right? NEU has what's called the South Recreation Fields, but their programming, just like for us, would come first and then whatever is left over might be available. So there are, just when talking about the sport of soccer, there are 2 soccer tournaments per year hosted in the city of Flagstaff by one of the soccer clubs. But they're primarily using one of our full-size fields, some of our outfields of a softball field for some of the smaller sized fields for kids and NAU. Yeah,
Are there any other fields that aren't City of Flag other than NAU that?
at NAU.
No, I mean like any
Other
other,
than NA.
like do the high schools allow?
FUSD has their own fields.
County has a field.
There's one field at Peaks View Park.
But does the high schools allow club teams or?
They have to work directly with the school. That's not covered in the IHEA. It's being able to allocate that space. We're pretty minimal on what we can give them as far as FUSD. And then you have the restrictions for time. And their sports get priority, so it's not
Right.
a feasible option most of the time.
It's not reliable over.
Yeah.
And these leagues are all club league, not school leagues or anything.
Correct. Yeah, school's a completely other subject.
And we did kind of bring it up and I have a question on this. So the FUSD, I know you guys aren't super in charge of that, but are you guys aware of how they're doing their pricing? They just keep upscaling stuff. And I don't know if this new way of allocating space might help with that issue because of the demand issues maybe. Do you have any info on that?
I don't. I have heard from our user groups that their fees are increasing, so they're actively looking for space for us. We don't have additional space currently. I could see that changing, especially with club sports at some point. Like, they're not gonna be allocated an entire afternoon until 9 PM if they only need a 2-hour time slot. So I do think we'll have some time slots, but that's also still, it needs to work with the practice.
Yeah.
A great question also, Commissioner, because our rates have not changed in over 11 years. Where we do see other rates have changed no matter what we're talking about, right?
FUSD went up 100%, literally. They started charging 150% more than that we were charging literally last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, outdoor and indoor space. I think their indoor space is a little more strict, but I know everything has kind of gone up at least 100%,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
And when our division happens to go through a rate study, who knows what will come about of that, but our rates are codified by city council. So say a rate study is performed and whatever suggested rate changes are proposed to city council, it is their decision to either put those new rates into place or come up with whatever structure or do nothing.
Yeah, do we have any power to pressure FUSD to like not make their rates crazy?
Do not, no, they're their own organization and that's their own, yeah.
Considering how much they've been cut financially, support-wise from the state and the feds, I'm surprised they haven't tripled.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be their, thing to run.
When's the next assessment due? Do you do?
Rate study,
Yeah.
we are currently working with that with the division called Management Services that houses our both financial and accounts payable section. They run that rate studies for all the other groups. So we are currently at the top of that list. So I would expect some type of study performed, I would hope in the next 6 to 9 months for pros. Some of that will also probably come up with item B on our discussion items too, through our master planning process, I would assume also. But it won't be specific to an actual rate study, but I'm sure it'll be noted that our rates have not changed in quite some time when we've seen other both material, quantity,
Use.
all of it increase. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we thought it was important that the commission know that we've got this big shift coming for our user groups. I mean, as Haley said, it's little leagues, boys and girls little leagues. It's tackle football, flag football. It's soccer, it's, gosh, what other sports am I missing for the youth right now? The rugby, and still stuff that's played on courts with tennis. We don't have any lacrosse clubs or groups in town that we know of. Right?
The other one, field hockey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a bit and it does impact a lot of community members. So it's important to us to help try to right now.
Thanks for the update. That's very, well, that you're considering that. Any other questions from any other commissioners online or? We got, Commissioner Lamberson with us.
It all sounds good. Thanks for updating us on that.
Thank you again, Haley. We can move on. Hello, Commissioner.
No questions. Just wanted you to know I'm here. Sorry, I had some trouble getting logged in.
Yeah, I saw you there. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
We're here despite. It's like,
I put that in the chat.
Anyhow, we can move on to the next discussion item, which is pros master plan update. We just been.
Sure, I'll take that one. So we worked with procurement who performs our cooperative procurement or competitive procurement, sorry. So the current request for proposal is physically out available for consulting organization or group of consultants to respond to for the pros master plan. I believe next week, or might be later this week, there's a pre-bid meeting for anyone interested in responding to the request for proposal. And gosh, it's sometime in, I think, the second week of November that those proposals would be due from responding organizations for this. So exciting. We've been funded for this item for a couple years and we finally had an opportunity to get this together and get this out the door and hope to receive some strong responses. Just as a reminder for the commissioners, we currently have just a Parks and Recreation Master Plan. It was developed in 2012 and adopted by City Council in 2013. As lots changed. Plus, we have the open space section and the events and marketing section to add to this. So I envision it's going to be a pretty large and robust master plan. And there'll be, whomever that awarded respondent is, there'll be a lot of outreach to this community on this. And I think the last time Rebecca Sayers was able to chat about this item, she wanted to let commissioners know to expect to hopefully engage in that process as a commissioner plus as a community member when we're going through a large master planning exercise like that.
I wasn't paying enough attention at last month's meeting. Aren't there multiple items on the master plan?
Involved in a master plan?
Yeah. So
By
so
multiple
you say master plan update and you said the bids are open. So are there multiple projects or just?
I think this is just for the.
Pros master plan. It's a
Okay.
request for proposal for that.
So if you got,
Okay, we're not.
You got it,
I was confused about the bids. I was like,
Yeah.
They hire somebody outside to do
To
the.
do the plan, got it.
Yeah. That's physically available.
yeah, and if you go to the current one, it, like Amy said, it's only for Parks and Recreation. And it dictates things like how many parks you're supposed to have within a certain distance and all this other stuff. So that's gonna be expanded. So yeah, that's gonna be a huge.
Be a large master planning exercise.
This one's gonna be akin to the one that they just had for like, cause I sat through a bunch of stuff for like. this-
Regional plan.
Yeah, the regional plan and that was enormous.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but That's the only reason I knew that they had to hire it out is because there is
Takes 2 minutes.
the green earth. They have enough people to do what that is. It's enormous.
Yeah, so yeah, that it's exciting, at least again, it's available out there for consulting groups or organizations that do this type of exercise in a community to propose upon. And there'll be, so their proposals will be due by XYZ date. There'll be an evaluation team of city staff who will determine who is the best respondent on that. And then work with procurement and legal on getting a contract with that group, and then all the fun can start. It's estimated that a master planning exercise would take anywhere from 12 to 18 months. I would go more toward the 18 months timeframe on that to really do a successful job of reaching out to a community of this size. Yeah, that's cool.
When do you expect to have, when are bids due?
I want to say it might be the first full week of November, if not the second week of November, somewhere in there.
And then, that'll have to go through council for approval.
It will, yes, the dollar value for it, I'm sure will exceed $100,000, and so it will take city council approval for that contract between the city of Flagstaff and whomever. Yeah.
Good. Anything more on the proposed master plan update? From anybody? No? Okay. Thanks for the information again, Amy. The next item is esports at Hal Jensen Recreation Center.
I'll take that one. I'm Tyrone Johnson, Recreation Manager. And for the esports, we're 90% of the way. We had the facilities team over working real hard. They refreshed the room with some paint, and they put all the desks together and chairs. We have the computers themselves that we're looking to get imaged and then put in. We meet this Thursday with Flagstaff IT or Executive to go over kind of the networking, because we're going to tie those computers into the transitional schools internet feed as opposed to being on the cities. And so once we get that, we should pretty much be there. We got some furniture from the library that they were getting rid of, as far as like lounge furniture, and just looking at the different lounge furniture and pieces there. And then to get that and reupholster that is much more cost effective than just purchasing some of this lounge furniture. And so we don't necessarily have a grand opening date, but we're hopeful that here in November we'll be up and running. The kids have been excited and anxious and waiting, and we have list of games. We're right there, and then we also have the arcade style video game tabletop sitting down. So 90% there. It's been good. It's been just interesting in terms of getting everything up and working with IT. We're calling it more of a gaming lounge as opposed to just really sports, because in working with IT, one of our IT members actually played esports competitively in college and talked about the latency here and the connections. And so you'll get serious gamers in there. And if you got that latency or that lag, we might just want to change it from the esports room. So it's more of a gaming lounge. We're still going to have the esports component. We have a virtual reality component, and then we have gaming consoles. So we have a Nintendo Switch 2, and then we also have PlayStation 5. So yeah, we'll have some good things. Yeah, we got the Switch 2.
Yeah, that just came out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
expensive.
We jumped.
I wanted to buy one for myself and I couldn't.
Look, we picked it up as soon as it came out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, how many hours?
What does that look like, as far as access and how you monitor and make sure everything's appropriate? And
as far as.
Yeah, and like everybody gets a turn. How do you manage that? Like
So-
time or?
Yeah, it's gonna be timing limits on the gaming consoles, and just depending on what they're playing, like if they're doing Rocket League and all that, may have 1 or 2 cycles, then you have to rotate out. So it'll be some timing, there'll be signups as far as checking stuff out, because we won't necessarily just have it out sitting. They'll have to come and they'll have to check out stuff like the Switch and everything. We talked about different things as far as collateral and making sure we get stuff back, but then liability wise, we don't necessarily want to be in possession of somebody's $2,000 phone and we're holding it and giving it back, and then kids say, "Oh, this is broke," even though it was broke when they gave it to us, and now we're on the hook for stuff. And so instead of doing any collateral, we're just gonna sign out, and then staff is just gonna have to be diligent in terms of making sure that staff is visible and they're not just in the office and out of sight, out of mind type thing. And so make sure that staff is there, they're engaging. When the kid signs out, that kid's responsible. We looked at some of the stuff that like Boys and Girls Club are doing, some other cities as far as waivers or anything like that. And a lot of people aren't doing like consent waivers for various games and whatnot. And so still working with staff to see where we want to land on that in terms of the games that are being played. We have a certain list that we'll download onto the computers, and then we'll have obviously the administrative sign on to where that'll be who can download stuff, and then the users for the kids, they should be blocked and should be able to download anything. And then when we do like the PS5, if they want to bring their own game in, we'll be fine with that. But we got to see where do we land on like the Call of Duties and all that type of stuff. Kids. So, yeah, because right now, when we had the old computers and they would get on and play little games, whether Roblox, whatever, we had in there posted that there's no shooting games or any of that type of stuff. And so now you get these PS5s and it's much more graphic and so on and so forth. We really want to keep that in mind to, protect the kids from themselves, and even though they may be bringing something from home and trying to play it there. So we want to be very conscious of kind of the games that are played. The Fortnite, you say, well, that's not as gory. I mean, it's still some of the same thing. It's one of the more popular ones. Seem like everybody's playing, So there's just different discussions on what do we allow, and then what do we say, no, that's too much.
Yeah, if you need a resource, I personally play video games. I
Okay.
know a lot of different things, and I have nephews who play games, so like I know kind of that like what's child appropriate kind of thing. So I can be a resource for that. I'm open.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, please do.
He's got a new instructor on video
You said that's
games.
gonna open in like November?
Yeah, we're very close. And so they're putting up the neon lights and the different things right now. And so it should be a cool space for the youth. And then we'll be sharing it in the daytime with the T school that's up there, them allowing us to go in on an internet connection. Of course, we'll let them use it in their curriculum, and for the kids that go to school there to be able to come in and entertain themselves during the school day. So
That was my next question. I was like, what is this secondary school fee?
Go ahead and explain what
Mention that.
so
school is.
yeah, the T school is a transitional school that started out as part of the Coconino County juvenile system. And so, kids that couldn't get in FUSD, even some of the kids from Ponderosa that got in trouble and stuff like that, got enrolled in T school, and it basically gives them a second chance, another opportunity to either work, they can work and they can actually graduate right from that school, or if they want to get back into Ponderosa FUSD, they can hit milestones and they can get introduced back into those schooling systems. And so we get, some kids that have been through some stuff, but the staff on that side, Heidi, the teacher, and even the support from Ponderosa, because a lot of the they're affiliated now with Ponderosa, and so Ponderosa kids come over, principals come over, and they work real well with the youth and give them a positive, supportive environment. And I think that's the benefit of that school being there because of the amenities, and their curriculum isn't just your standard come in at 8, go to this class, this class, this class. They're up and down and they're doing different things. And so it works for them to engage them and keep them coming to school. Because a lot of times with the choices that they were making, they weren't even going to school. So with the T school, a lot of them want to be there. A lot of them don't even want to graduate, but you try and push them to the finish line so that they can graduate, get out there and do some stuff.
Can you, since I'm an older man, I'm not technological, could you explain to me what exactly esports is? I mean, are they playing on a computer? I'm only familiar with like the old Wii games and all that. So.
They are playing on a computer. You can also play on the gaming consoles. And so you can play competitively against each other. Like back when we were playing, you had to really be sitting next to somebody and you got one joystick, I got one joystick, and that's all. But with the esports, it opens it up more online. You can play with people from pretty much around the world. And so you have various games to where you can do it like a league component to where you can play on somebody's team against other people. And so it's just more online sports activity. You play on the computer or the console, and you don't have to play with the person sitting next to you. We can be across town playing.
Sounds like we need to have a commission meeting over there.
I think once it's really done and stuff, how we were taking different field trips, how we talked about that. I think that would be a great idea. It would be fun.
It would be a cool field trip idea. We wouldn't record it, just like to me, it's going out in the field. I think it'd be neat to go check out.
Yeah, and I do want to say something with esports is it's similar to like a regular sports team where they work together, they develop that teamwork, they develop that like ability to intercommunicate and that kind of thing, as well as kind of compete with other people. So they can make teams within themselves or they can compete like outside of that. So it does similar things that a team sport does, where it does that camaraderie and that, builds that community.
Okay.
Well, and there's actually, say it's still AIA, but Arizona Interscholastic Association recognizes it as a sport. Colleges will recognize it as a sport. People can get scholarships to go play esports. When this
Is it
project,
going to be in the Olympics?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely popular. When I first started researching a lot of stuff, talking with people, I spent a lot of time talking to the head coach at Yavapai Community College about the equipment and the various things and what it would take to really get something up and going. And so, yeah, it's definitely, like I say, it's an actual sport.
Multi-billion-dollar industry.
It's super popular.
I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah. Wild. I mean, like you said, scholarships or military pays attention and you've got drone operators that are growing out of these programs and becoming high level in any military arm. It's wild. Yeah. Yeah.
Who knew?
It's not the Wii Sports anymore.
I like the Wii Sport. Played against all the female Olympic athletes in Arizona.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the update. I learned something.
Maybe once it's open, maybe in, like we say, our December meeting or January meeting is a field trip to Hal Jensen. That'd be
Do an
really
indoor thing, absolutely. 100%. It's nice and warm in
That's a
there.
good idea.
Right?
Is all your equipment covered through insurance?
Question.
As far as so
Yeah, so like your gaming.
Damage.
Everything, if they get damaged and stuff.
we have the initial warranty period, but other than that, not necessarily. Once we get outside that warranty period, then it's gonna be like just the rest of our equipment as far as what the city owns and everything. So we don't have a special insurance policy just protecting that. So that's why we gotta be diligent, just.
Is such a thing? Can you get insurance for
I
equipment?
don't know. I feel like everything's insurable. It's just how much money you have,
Yeah.
but
Of how you get that insurance.
it feels like it's in a lot of ways, they're gonna drive it like a rental car.
And like the PCs
They're
are,
gonna come and yell at me.
yeah, the PCs are designed for like the high usage and everything. I mean, we made a $30,000+ investment to get these computers and VR sets and just everything that goes into it, because when we bring stuff to any of our centers, we want to bring quality stuff. But when we start talking about the youth and the sunny side, we don't want them to feel like, oh, you get secondhand stuff. Because when this place came, that's kind of how it used to be. Everybody got kind of the hand-me-downs. And then as we got new leadership in, it was just like, no, they deserve new and quality stuff too. So, I mean, we definitely made an investment into the equipment and the products to make sure that the gaming experience would be what they would hope for and imagine. So
Very cool.
it'll be some good equipment.
We do, I think you does some game summer camps, and I think there will be some scholarships. I'll talk to Dean into it. So I'll keep you updated because you're gonna have students with need and potential. And then they can learn coding and how to build video games and stuff like that. So I'll keep you in mind.
Excellent. Sounds good. Definitely appreciate it.
Questions, people? Thank you. Awesome. Well, that's a great update. And again, I like learning something new. So, yeah. So if no one has any other further comments or questions, we can move on to our final discussion item, which is upcoming fall, winter parks projects.
All right, and I'll take that one. Evening, everyone. Gino Leone, Parks Manager. Yeah, it's a lot of exciting things happening in parks over the next couple months and into the spring. Just so everybody is aware, this time of year is a little transitional for parks. We kind of start going from our normal maintenance, summer operations, spring, summer operations, transition more to winter preparations and what we'll call project season internally. And we'll go through a list of operating capital and then some other like in-house projects. But it's more some of the larger projects, working with contractors. There's a lot that'll be done in-house by the parks coworkers. Just kind of needed improvements, but also keeps people busy and engaged until the snow starts falling, which is kind of what we'll be dealing with from that point on. And feel free to ask questions at any point when I'm going through this list and just kind of talking about some of these items. I'm going to start with the operating capital. So that's every year, Parks annually gets $255,000 for operating capital in our budget. And that's for more accomplishing some, minor upgrades, not really large construction projects, but amenity upgrades, site furnishings, and other needed projects on a smaller scale in parks. So this is all funded for this year. This current fiscal year. I'm going to start with the cemetery just because we have a couple things happening at the cemetery, some of our bigger projects, especially the cemetery expansion. I know we're talking operating capital, cemetery expansion. This fiscal year, we were funded one-time capital of our operating capital to perform. It's a roughly 1 acre expansion at Citizen Cemetery. And this was all, I know we'll be talking budget again in the next couple of weeks. So we discussed this a little bit last year when it was proposed. The reality is that, we still have a lot of usable space in the cemetery, not developed, but the need for expansion is now. We asked 2 years ago, we weren't given the funding. We were lucky enough to get the funding this year. 1 acre, like I said, give or take, it's roughly 1 acre. We should gain a minimum of, probably 700 additional plots in the cemetery. As people are, interments are picking up at the cemetery, even traditional burials, people are going some alternate routes. But the reality is we're pretty taxed on the current plotting we have, and they're a little scattered. Especially last year, we sold a grouping of 100 plots to the local Jewish community, which further hindered what we have available for the next couple of years. So this expansion, roughly one acre, it's a pretty straightforward project. It's a little clear and grub, some tree removals, very little grade work in the area we have identified. The big thing is going to be irrigation installation. main lines, lateral lines, sprinkler heads, and getting wiring back to our central computer. And then, excuse me, there's going to be some soil amendments. It's all native soil, and then laying sod in the area. Now, so once we get this performed, once we're completed with this, we're about 2 years away from being able to use the plots in this new section. Part of the cost, as well as budgeted, is once the project is complete, everything has to be added into our SIM software. We have a cemetery software, pretty intuitive. It helps. So the cost is for them to build the new plots in. So the way this software works, it's essentially a burial search, cloud-based, internet-based burial search, which so you could locate a grave and find a grave on site. And it also gives the ability to show what's available in the cemetery should somebody be looking to purchase a plot. Shows what's taken, what is still available, kind of helps in those ways as well. And it also helps back up all of our documentation for, where people are interned in perpetuity. So where we are in this project, we have the funding secured, working currently on a bid schedule. There's no plan set or necessarily design. Like I said, it's a pretty straightforward project. So we'll be having, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, a pre-bid meeting with some interested contractors, and then give them the opportunity to chime in and provide a quote for the project. The idea is to hopefully get this started where there might be some groundwork that could be accomplished, but the hope is to be going full strength into this expansion come springtime when we're able to plant sod. So that's exciting, and it's in the works right now. Also at the cemetery, while we're talking that, we do have a new columbarium, 64 niche columbarium, which is for cremains, mausoleum for cremains essentially. We placed 64 niche columbarium in, I believe it was FY23, and we're already nearing capacity on that. So we're using the same vendor. We just put a down payment on it, so it's about a 12-week lead time. So it'll match what's existing. It'll be placed parallel to the one that was placed 2 years ago in the cemetery.
Citizen Cemeteries on San Francisco.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Do you have any in-ground cremains?
What's that?
Do you have any in-ground?
We do. So some plots are designed for cremains, and it could be chosen as well. So you could, essentially get 4 cremains into a plot that you would do a standard in-ground.
Okay.
Yeah, those options are also available. I know it sounds like a lot at the cemetery, but we need to maintain these assets as well. And we do have another one. It's a continuation of the roadway R&R project we implemented 2 years ago at the cemetery. The first year, we were able to do a mill and overlay of the main road in Buttercup Avenue from San Francisco up to the caretaker's house. This year, we're going to hit the first cross street. We mentioned Cemetery Miller Ave and get that milled and overlaid with the hope that next year we can continue on. And yeah, so that one's also in process. We have quotes from vendors just working through contract execution on the city end. Any questions on the cemetery before we move on to some park stuff?
Did they ever update their fees? I know when I first started on this commission, that was like one of the first reports you guys talked about how cheap it is.
You're the least expensive in the state. They're all a part of those pros fees that are codified by city council. It's not changed since 2014.
So is that
That will be
That will
provided
be-
in that rate study.
That will be included in the other funds.
okay? So we will come into this century with our fees.
It's up to city council.
That is up to city council.
So if you're developing an acre, how many, is that it? How much more space do you have in?
So we have plenty, yeah, there's still there's plenty of expansion to come. We have easily, probably like another 10 to 15 acres that is expandable over time. This is an easier one. There are a lot of it's possible it's going to take a lot more work to expand other sections in the cemetery just because of grade. There'll be a lot more infill. But yeah, shortly after this, we'll probably start those bigger asks to start identifying and piecing in some of the larger scale expansion.
Is Citizens the only cemetery that City of Flagstaff has, or there's more?
We have the Catholic one.
there's the Calvary Catholic Cemetery that is not city managed. We do assist with some operations at the other cemetery, but Citizen Cemetery is the Flagstaff Community Cemetery.
And then you have the Veterans Cemetery out in Belmont,
Yes.
at Camp Navajo.
I learned something.
Of course. All right, so
Is that all budgeted so far? I mean, you have the,
for everything we just talked about, yes, this is all, the cemetery expansion was 225,000. That's one-time capital money we were given this fiscal year.
okay,
And the columbarium purchase and roadway repairs was out of that 255,000 operating capital. Parks has a discretion. We identify during the budget process what we'll be using each amount of money for.
okay.
That'll roll into the rest of the projects, at least right now that I'm going to talk about, are all this year's operating capital. Another one is the Parks Shop parking structure. And this one is about 3 years in process. We've been taking part of our operating capital the last 3 years and carrying it forward to build enough fund balance to build another structure at the Park Shop. We have an unused area where it used to be essentially outdoor parking for facilities maintenance. Parks has outgrown our current facility, and with the loss of several other areas we've had over the years, the old fire station at Joel Montalvo, and then as well as the Thorpe Annex property where future ICC is, trying to consolidate all of our equipment and material back into one location. Our shop functions very well for maintenance, but our biggest assets are our lawnmowers, our new fleet, our new tractors. They get weathered. We have no place to park equipment inside. We have no place for indoor pallet storage. We do buy a lot of fertilizers and things like that. So this is a simple pole barn type structure, a roof, 4 walls, some man doors and a garage door. We're confident we do have enough of a fund balance this year to pull it off. We're actually working through the process to purchase a kit building with full set of plans, foundation detail, and then we'll be working with a local contractor to do the concrete flat work and the installation for us, hopefully in the spring.
Is that a metal building?
It is.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's exciting for the parks. And you'll see, we'll touch on a couple other that are kind of just improving the infrastructure for parks maintenance to maintain our operation essentially.
And where's that gonna go?
So if you're familiar with our Thorpe shop at the softball complex, just west of our park shop, within our fenced area, there's a vacant, essentially piece of land. We have a playground equipment store there and things like that. It is outdoor parking essentially. So just putting a structure on that property.
But you're not tearing down any other structures?
No, it's a fairly level piece of unused ground we currently have. And the building footprint is going to be 40 by 60.
That's good size.
Yeah. Okay, the next one would be the McMillan Mesa playground replacement. And this is that annual funding, $150,000 that Parks receives with the idea of replacing one of our aging playground structures on an annual basis. We've been utilizing it every year. This year, we have identified McMillan Mesa Park. So that whole playground area, we're looking for kind of replacing the playground equipment, maybe a little redesign of the current area we have. Some of the previous ones we've done, we've dealt with exclusively with vendors. We direct selected a vendor due to trying to match something they've already had on site from a previous year. This year, this is kind of a complete redesign. So this gives us a little bit of an ability to approach it a different way. I'm working this week actually with several, I have 5 national commercial playground manufacturers that I'm working with to provide a design within, there's some parameters like that I have outlined. We have a budget number. There's some other things, it has to be a turnkey operation. It has to include removal and disposal of what is existing. So essentially I'm asking 5 vendors to give a proposal and a design. And then we're going to work on a mechanism to get that information out essentially to a Mesa neighborhood and essentially let them choose the playground that we install this year out there.
So it's not numbers based, it's design based.
Yes, and we have a budget to work in, which some general numbers will be shared with the vendors. But yeah, it is more, and they are all priced on cooperative contracts.
Yeah.
And that's the way the solicitations will come in. So we are truly looking for the best design and not really looking at a price point. Yeah. Within reason.
And you're saying one park a year basically gets that like.
Yes. Yeah, and with the caveat that next year's probably going to be a good example. We've been doing some smaller structures and smaller areas. We're looking possibly the next one we do might be Fox Glen, which is significantly larger. So if that's the route we do choose for next fiscal year, we'll probably take a pause, carry forward that 150,000 to the next year to give us 300,000 to be able to implement a larger scale playground replacement.
Will that come? Will that be the 2 to 5 year old and 5 to 12 year old for the playground?
That's a lot. Yes, yes. So when we get into the big ones like a Fox Glen, it would be a redesign and replacement of everything within that current footprint.
But for the McMillan Base, park. That is gonna.
So
a small one.
it needs to be play for all ages, which what's currently up there is a 5 to 12 structure. And that's where that's one of the parameters would be play for all ages, but that could encompass, it could be the large structure might be 5 to 12. But the thought is on top of whatever structure gets replaced, implement more standalone equipment. And maybe that's what's going to be geared towards the 2 to 5 year old. And these are some of the general design criteria I've discussed with the vendors and, kind of see what they come back with for that play of all ages.
Do they have a swing set there?
There is a swing set, and that's one thing we do in all of our designs. We maintain swings, maybe not the capacity there, but swings is a big one. It needs to be maintained. The incorporation of at least 1 or 2 slides into any design. Just some of the things we know from community feedback that they always want to see certain elements in the playgrounds.
Decent amount of room to work with.
Mm-hmm. And that's, so hopefully there's ways to work in some more equipment for all ages that way.
I can see how you
Maybe with a little bit of tweak,
Mhm.
it's not going to be Apple, it'll be a completely new design. So it gives us a blank canvas to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of exciting stuff. So, all right. So some of the other ones, operating capital, not such high dollar, but very valuable and important. We have funding for new dumpster enclosures for our parks dumpsters. So they're currently on the annex property with future ICC. And the goal is a lot of this, we're slowly getting our assets off that property in a more usable location next to our park shop, essentially. So we have an area identified, the softball complex, to get the dumpsters out of their current location over there and following city specs. We'll be building actual design enclosures. There'll be 2 doubles and a single that'll encompass or 4 trash and 1 recycling dumpster that's currently at the property. And there's also ways we're looking to incorporate, a little bit of a fencing gate design, and because we're going to struggle with illegal dumping like we always do. We're also talking possibilities of, some sort of surveillance on the location just to kind of deter some of that illegal dumping.
Is that to gather the trash that you pick up from the various parks?
Yes.
Trash and all that? Okay.
So most of our dumpsters are centrally located at that Thorpe Annex property. And Amy has an image up here. So it's on the bottom of the screen where there's currently some, she'll show. Oh, you're good. She'll show where they're currently.
Correct. Currently right there, kind of a row. You can kind of see the shadowing of them right there, those 5 squares. Thanks.
And so they're not enclosed
Not
and
at all.
they
No,
have gating or locks on them.
no, that whole property is open.
Yeah, I can see why illegal dumping is a problem.
Yeah, we experienced that unfortunately in all of our locations with a trash enclosure like that. Even when you have a gating system up, people tend to leave the trash outside the gate or
Right.
somehow toss it over.
Like Gino said, we need some central locations to take gosh, there's over, I think, 350 trash cans in our park grounds and along the urban trail. And the team is out there grabbing bags with their assignments, and eventually you need places to take all of this. We have kind of a east side-ish location. We'll keep the locations unknown. And, so our rec centers tend to have some deposits where we can put some of this, and then this location, it's tough because we have an operational need, and then we also understand that the public has a need every now and then too, but we do to try to fulfill our operational need. It's real frustrating if the team has bags of trash bags and recycling bags in the back of the pickup, and they're having to spend windshield time and driving all the way to the other side of town just to try to find some place to disperse.
Well, they need to expand or push or bring back the monthly or at least more than quarterly bulk trash pickup so people don't take all their pine needles and throw them in there.
Yep, different go.
Yeah,
It's like,
I believe he.
One.
I know that they do now. Yeah.
For the next 3 months.
This Aztec lot, and when we were all out there walking around with our field trip that day, or a handful of us that day in I can't remember what month that was, maybe May. I think Gino's thinking, you're thinking this location right
Yeah,
here.
for you could
right?
see some dumpsters that were left for a special event. Those, that little section hasn't been striped. The stripes haven't been visible in so long. It's not used for parking. It's really used for temporary dumpster storage. So it's already a flat enough hardscape for us to start off of. So it helps our costs when we have to build these enclosures, being able to use kind of that asphalt apron as our entryway into the enclosures. So yeah, and that's like, it does work for solid waste as well, the way they would have to come in and they have straight access into service the cans. And it hopefully dresses it up a little bit where it's not just dumpsters as well. We'll have a nice enclosure around it where they'll be somewhat hidden.
It's good. They got full maneuverability, the trucks.
Yes. All right, a couple other ones on this operating capital. We have two pedestrian wooden pedestrian bridges along the foot system in Ponderosa Trails. They're starting to rot. They need some TLC, pretty much a full rebuild at this point. So there's funding to rebuild those two pedestrian bridges. And then park signage. Every year, we're continuing to try and standardize and complete that process. Our park kiosk, the entryway signs, going from the composite sign, which you still see, there's one at the Aquaplex when you drive in, to the new plasma cut metal steel signs that we've been putting in all of our parks over the years. Though I think this year we'll be able to complete and have just about every park done with the funding. And this is also for some new rule signage that we're going to be rolling out for all the parks as well. I have been working through some designs and hopefully have some final designs in the next couple weeks. The idea is to move away. I don't know if you're familiar with parks rule signs. It's a little novel that's small print. This is getting away from all that small print, moving to universal symbology and incorporation of QR codes, kind of making the whole experience a little more intuitive for the visitors of the park, a little bit more apparent than having to read through a list of, 14 park rules that you're just going to get lost in.
Are you rebuilding the bridges or building new ones, or are they pre-manufactured?
We're looking into both options right now to see our best bet.
From a cost standpoint?
Yes, from a cost standpoint.
What happened to the bridge from the library to Wheeler Park? I was there and I was like, what?
Oh, it's been,
Went away.
Gone for a while.
Obviously, I haven't been to the downtown.
Did someone like fall through it at one point?
We did an assessment on it.
Was no longer structurally sound, but with the future Rio de Flag large improvement project, it also would need to come out with that project through the Army Corps of Engineers work done upstream of that and downstream. So when it was no longer a structurally sound, the city took it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have designed it boardwalk to go back in its place eventually.
We got the Rio de Flag flowing. Cause that's, the idea is, right, the Rio de Flag, saving project. That's why we didn't put that, that's why we removed that bridge, and it was gonna be removed anyway, is what you're
It
saying?
would have been removed with the Rio de Flag Improvement Project through the Army Corps of Engineers.
But through an assessment, it was also determined before we tore it down that it was unsafe. And to make it safe would have required a lot of money. So,
Something that wouldn't stay anywhere.
right.
How far out is that Army Corps thing?
No idea. No idea at all. Continues to escalate in overall cost and really.
Restoration was.
So they're nowhere near even, they're still in planning stage.
You got the manufacturer.
There are 100% designed construction drawings.
That's.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what we just.
but I have no idea where it is in the process, considering the funding source and other aspects.
I just wondered how
Yeah.
up to date they keep you guys busy. You are,
Especially.
I mean, it flows through a lot of your jurisdictions.
So I was doing
You
it.
kind of do find this out. It would be something that
Sure to do.
starts to make movement. I would love to know and out there if that ever.
I know that I've got it.
Yeah, if we see some movement on that, I'll wait, because I know there's another conversation going on.
Went to their website.
I don't think any spot can say, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if there is movement on that, because if that project were to be constructed, it impacts the urban trail system, which our team maintains. It may create some more pocket type park locations along the alignment of the urban trail, just north of the downtown library and city hall. So it would involve those without a doubt.
Duck pond, like all of that.
Not that far upstream for large improvements, but
So are they done to the duck pond or? I
no,
thought there was a lot that they were going to do.
along that part of the water course, there's bridges. At certain locations, there's the Mead, there's Beal, there's Thorpe, and it continues downstream. So the improvements of the overall Rio de Flag project vary depending on the location and the amenity, if you will, along that federal water course.
That's it for the operating capital that we're funded for. There's just two others I'd like to touch on real quick, just through other funding mechanisms within our actual budget. We are replacing two scoreboards at Continental Little League Complex, or Continental Sports Complex. Those are fields 2 and 4. And I don't know if you've seen the boards we've been using at the Thorpe Softball Complex. That's our new standard. It's a certain model, but it has the pros logo right dead center. So we're going to use those for all of our upcoming replacements. But this being in a Little League park, I have engaged the local Little League group, the design process, giving them some input on color selection, because we're going to keep the pros logo, but seeing if they want to use their league's colors, because you could get a scoreboard in any color and any color trim. So worked with them on that, and then gave them some options if they're able to fund it, how we could incorporate an additional signboard with their league logo. So working on those designs currently, just started this process last week. Should have some initial mock-ups this week to share with the user group, and moving forward quickly with that one.
Are those electronic?
They are. They're electronic and wireless. Then one more, just I know there's been a lot of improvements at Bushmaster Park, but we know there's some needed R&R to happen within the skate track itself. This is one of those internal projects for parks coworkers. At some point this fall, winter, probably be a temporary closure. I'm talking a couple days where we like to get in there and do kind of a deep, this is a skate track, the actual skateboard park. Do kind of a deep clean and pressure washing of the area, do some minor concrete repairs, recaulking the seams. We've also talked about the possibility of being able to add one or two little standalone features, kind of make it a little more skatable after getting some input from the skate community. And then once that is all done, we'd like hopefully in the spring to hold some certain, this is still in process, hold some sort of volunteer day, maybe a combination of city staff, and try and engage the community to repaint all the skate bowls in Bushmaster once we're done with the repairs. Maybe add a little color and flavor to the park, maybe deter a little bit of the vandalism, maybe give us an opportunity to try something a little fun.
I have two notes actually. So the skate track that you're talking about the flat track then?
I'm talking about the skateboard.
The skateboard park, okay. And then I do want to say that as someone who's done a lot of skate parking, I do find the places that have that art, especially when they work with people of the community who are artists, it very much gets that graffiti out of the way. Like it,
Totally agree.
yeah, graffiti goes almost down to
I've seen it in place as well. Yeah, so that's kind of the thought. Once we get some of these repairs, get some color to the area, and that's a reason for trying to engage the community, not only like the neighborhood community, but the skate community as well.
And I want to give myself as a resource for that, just because I'm really connected with the skate community. So I would know like artists, skateboarders, and other skating that like would want to contribute to something like that.
Fantastic.
Noted.
Be careful what you sign up for.
Hey, I'm still signing up for jobs.
You have 2 jobs and
I love it.
careful.
Two guns? Two guns, have you seen that? Yeah.
Two Guns is the cool part.
So I think there's some potential once first step is making some of these, and they're kind of minor repairs that'll go a long way. But yeah, bigger picture, I'd love to go that route in the spring once these repairs are complete. And that's what I got. There's all sorts of little parks is going to be busy until it snows. If it doesn't snow, we'll keep busy with concrete repairs, fencing repairs. The list goes on and on.
Are there any plans for that flat track then? Just because there are holes in that concrete too?
Yeah, we've been looking at just some different surfacing options. I haven't really settled. There's just a project like that, unfortunately, right now isn't funded.
Yeah.
And it is, and we've had those discussions. It's on a list for the future, just unsure where some of that could fall.
Yeah, so there's like giant blue handprints of paint all over the track, and it's been there for almost a year now.
Yeah. I think some of those were much worse. Like we did what we could. Like that. I know where you're talking. It was really thick. Like there's only so much we could do without the integrity of the surfacing.
Wondering if there's any,
Like an epoxy.
movement on that.
You can put on top, like those acrylic garage coating type things.
Yeah, and we
that
have
enough tooth that they're not.
we have explored some of those options. That's where unfortunately, that's good for one user group, might not be the best for another sport.
Right.
And that's where we try to find, because that might be a little too slick for.
Right.
That's why right now it has a little bit of a grit to it, fine grit, which once again, it's trying to find that happy medium that works for every user group. Because you know what, roller derby wants that smooth, fast, where, other sports, they need just that little bit of tackiness to the skate.
Do you know which groups want that tackiness?
What's that?
Just out of curiosity, do you know what sports want that tackiness?
It was initially proposed, I think, by the roller hockey.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Interesting, because they're on ice usually, right?
Was that?
They're on ice usually, right? That's gonna be way slicker.
Well, and then their inline skating program, which is, I think, their outdoor version of things.
Then you run the risk, if there's no grit to it and it gets a little wet, it could become a hazard as well. That's where you kind of walk the fine line with an outdoor court. And then it's what works in our environment up here as well, and what's going to hold up over time. And I think that's what we like. Those, it sounds great, the garage floor epoxy coating, but how durable is that going to be in the elements with play on it constantly?
Can outdoor hockey play in the rain? I know with roller derby, we can't play in the rain. That'll ruin our gear. Like our
Sure.
skates cannot be in water.
Yeah. Or if people in general choose to play in the rain, because it's not, it's also community, yeah.
I get that. I get that.
If you understand where I'm,
Yeah, like someone can just choose to
yes.
bring their stuff and be in there.
Back to the skate park, I see that there was a comment by Commissioner Lamberson about what about a partnership and or outreach with MNA for their skate deck art installation. If you're able to talk, Commissioner, you certainly can.
What MNA stands for.
Museum of Northern Arizona.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you're looking for artists in the future, they did a really cool art installation. I don't think it's still up, but everybody put art on skate decks, and there might be some real great synergy there as well with the skate community.
I actually know a few people that were involved in that.
No, thank you.
Maybe, would you guys be including the beautification committee on?
Possibly, if we applied for a grant, if the pros division applied for a grant, that's one potential opportunity, like we've seen outside sources apply for a grant to paint or decorate a park amenity, but possibly. Might help, procure those materials. Right, may help procure like materials or provide something like that.
Solicit the bids and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's worth looking into.
Mhm.
Like when they did Fremont Road painting, I know that was through, I think, a Bloomberg
It was.
grant.
It was. Yeah. So yeah, there could be some really neat opportunities out there. But I think as Gino said, first step is making some of those more structural repairs, and then we need to dive into, because it's every shade of gray, and right next to it is some really cool, neat sport courts coming, and so it's kind of, it looks like, man, a really bad eyesore right now when you look at aerial footage. So yeah, we need to jump on that.
That's what I got for projects.
Nice.
It's not all projects, just want to remind you, there's still maintenance that's going to be occurring all through the season. We do take advantage of this time of year to get a head start on field prep already for April. We're already thinking April, before the snow falls, getting out before the ground freezes, cutting grass lines straight, doing some clay work, getting our laser leveler on the fields. To kind of help that transition in April, so we're not scrambling at the end of the year.
You guys started shutting down irrigation.
This week, we actually did on some of our smaller parks. We typically start the small parks and hold off on our athletic fields as long as we can. They'll be the last to go. But over the next couple of weeks, everything will be winterized. And that's part of that transition into this project season.
Yeah. Lots to do, always. Anyone else have any other comments or questions for Gino? Thank you, Gino.
Thank you.
Let us know if we can help with anything. So, very good. Well, that's all of our discussion items. So we'll move on to reports and updates. First thing, well, we don't have council member Garcia with us, so we'll skip over the council report and move on to the pros monthly newsletter. Looked like Amy was having fun out there playing kickball.
We won, in case you're wondering.
I didn't know you had a kickball area.
It was, well, we used the Thorpe Adult Softball Complex. It was for the all-employee city barbecue, and then there was a kickball tournament for teams. And one of our recreation supervisors at the ice rink, he helped organize the teams, schedule everything with all of his experience in that area. So
And the pumpkin splash is this weekend.
it's this weekend. Is that Friday or Saturday? Do you know, hey, Saturday, pumpkin splash here at the Aquaplex?
Another Halloween thing.
Tyrone would know, maybe other Halloween events happening at the rec center.
On Friday, I think.
Well, Friday, there's a spooky skate that's happening, and then Friday is also Hal Jensen's Halloween event. And then Saturday is here.
Eat.
Spooky
Spooky
skate.
skate.
Come in your spookiest costume. I think it's during the public skate session on Friday night at the ice rink.
Okay.
That's all I noticed on that, so. Is this the second year you're doing the pumpkin splash, or have you done it
This is year 2. It was a large success last year, a lot of fun.
drowned?
No,
Pumpkins drowned.
no, not that I'm aware of. No impacts to the pool mechanical system. So yeah, I know the team here is real excited to host that again.
Such fun. Great. Want to add anything more regarding the newsletter? I'd like to bring up. Your question, Sims, do you have anything?
How was the Recreation Association conference in Phoenix? Was it nice, cooler at least?
I don't know, 4 people went.
Yeah, I think 3 folks in Parks and 1 person in Recreation attended.
Oh, the new equipment here.
Good equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, people are enjoying it, loving it, and so I think Kyle, supervisor here, he's been doing a good job in terms of making sure he connects with the users and see what the equipment pieces are that they want, and then being proactive and so, no.
It's an evolving thing where you're anticipating more equipment over time or replacing equipment. It's just kind
Yeah.
of create a more full gym.
I think you try and kind of stay in tune with fitness trends and what's going on and make sure, especially when you have a member-based facility, that you have the equipment needs that people are looking for. And so, yeah, I think you always have your standards. We have our free weights, some different strength machines, but then there's those novelties or those specialty machines that people want and it trends towards. And so you try and make sure you have that. And one thing that a lot of the rec staff are working on is formulating a list and figuring out the life cycles of everything so that when we do go to budget and we are planning, because with recreation, we get 55,000 of capital money each year, and we split it between the 4 centers based on the needs. And a lot of times that's used to get the fitness equipment. And so you try and look and you try and see kind of what's the newest, biggest, best thing that the people will like, and then you see if you can institute that, and then it'll have a life cycle or so long. And so it is an evolving thing throughout.
Cause do you have a weight room over at Hal Jensen? We do. Yeah. How does that compare to here?
You know,
Same.
it's about the same in terms of functionality with your free weights and then like some strength machines. This has a much more vast cardio area in terms of the machines that they have. Hal Jensen, you have some cardio machines, but obviously not as much. Spatially, you can flow freer here. Hal Jensen, you're much tighter. And so the way it's set up is functionally, you're gonna have your free weight section just on one side, and then you go to your strength machines and then a small cardio area. But functionally, anything you can do up here, you can do over there. So.
Thanks, super exciting.
The e-bikes in the fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some spots, and I'll just call it out, the railroad tracks that force a lot of bikers to cohabitate with a lot of the cars. Is there ever possibility of putting like a pedestrian / bicycle overpass?
Along the Route 66 urban.
Yeah, somewhere in there, like on the street.
Thanks.
I saw somebody almost get hit the other day again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cars just don't pay. It's the cars.
The most I can speak to this is and Amy might also have knowledge on this, the underpass for NAU was supposed to be like a headway over bridge type thing that they were wanting to build when I was a student there in 2016, and they just built it like a year ago. So anything like that, I feel like going over is a lot harder here than going under for some
Yeah.
reason, just city planner wise.
I think in general, there's significant cost associated with that too. Accessibility can be a concern because it's not that easy just to do that. It's gonna start hundreds of feet back and then, yeah, and then cars need to be able to go underneath and that's significant infrastructure, big time.
Where, what are you trying to get?
66 Urban Trail.
Yeah, it's the railroad tracks that take you from Route 66 over to Butler side.
What is the biking aspect of Ponderosa? That, aren't they doing a gigantic bridge over?
Oh, Lone Tree.
Lone Tree.
It's the Lone Tree Overpass. Capital project.
Cruise again, right?
No, there's gonna be
No, there's a complete bikeway, pedway, urban trail.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, because I feel like the cars just don't. Yeah, I don't care.
And
Not on the board.
Yeah, and all of
It gets worse the more the
Never.
up.
all of that is held with, there's the Traffic Engineering Commission. So our traffic engineering team is responsible for all of that. There's also, I know Mountain Line works with safe to school routes. I get the urban trails that are developed, our team just maintains. We're not planning them, developing them, anything like that. We're just the maintenance of them once.
there's a home mile development.
There's the downtown mile, that impacts some of the sidewalks, if you will, and bikeways in front of City Hall and, yeah.
There'll be an underpass, Futz underpass under Route 66 at City Hall there.
Yes,
There is, or there's
They're
going?
going to.
it will
So
be.
then you've got a couple of access points, but most of those are on the west side.
To cross the train tracks,
Cause I would consider Lone Tree west side.
pretty central.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because usually the Fourth Street is kind of where it delineates, but yeah, I didn't know if there was gonna.
Which there's this bridge.
I was like, I consider Lone Tree west side too, but I think it's because I live in Sunnyside, so like
Right.
everything lives there is west side.
For Greenlaw.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, well, technically.
Everything over there is west side. I'll step back.
That's all right, it's all right. You get it. But if they're.
You didn't ask him, I'd ask him.
That's right. We're not talking about restrooms, so.
Master pickleball courts, are they gonna be expected to be done in November? Is that still on track? Kind
The
of.
sport courts.
Yeah,
Master Park,
yeah.
yes, it will be done.
Do you have like a date on that?
I don't have an exact date, no.
Okay, okay.
The project is, gosh, well over 90% complete. We're waiting on, there will be 8 additional trees installed this week that arrived on Friday. There's more landscape rock. We need APS to energize the power pole to the new electrical panel and sport court lighting. And then we need to test the lights at night. Cause the last thing you want to do is not know if they work. Then get final inspection performed with the city's building department, and then it can be basically occupied. We are planning to work with Thomas Elementary School, that's around the corner from Bushmaster Park, on a field day, if we can, and have the students at Thomas Elementary enjoy basketball, tennis, and pickleball.
Nice. I wanna know when the pickleballers will be off my skate court. We adjust our practice schedule to be later in the afternoon on Sundays, but excited to have it maybe.
Kids play pickleball. Kids play pickleball. What if there was like a minimum age requirement?
Right?
The real question is, there
Sure.
Yeah, coming soon. I know, we wanted to, I'd love to say October something, but knowing it's October 20th. And when you're working with outside groups like a giant utility provider like APS, I'm not gonna commit to a date. But yeah, so very, very far along in the process, considering that the contractor started May 7th, pretty impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if we don't have anything more on those items, pros monthly newsletter or any, actually, those were all falling under information items to and from commissioners and staff. So why don't we just move on to agenda items for next meeting?
So it will be in November. Let me make sure it's not
Seventh.
a difficult date in November. Okay, it's the 17th. I would anticipate by then that these sport courts are complete, so I'll have complete drone footage we've had. I'll attempt to splice it together with some of the other footage we've done at some larger milestones to see kind of a beginning to end type aerial view, since I know it can be hard. Even when you're physically standing there, you don't realize like, holy cow.
It's not snowy. It'd be fun to actually do a meeting out there and walk through all of it.
We could do that too. So yeah, no, I think it'd be really cool first to hit up Hal Jensen in one of our rec centers, but then maybe, we'll figure that out. I'm not afraid.
Maybe in the spring or something.
We could, yeah, yeah. So I would anticipate something like that on the agenda, for November and open honestly to anything else. I can, restrooms, we all love to talk about. I can provide an update on that project if the commission wants.
Got updated designs. Wouldn't mind seeing them.
I do. So yeah, that could be an agenda item. We'll be getting out of a lot of our athletic season that is permitted with Haley's team and have some upcoming large special events that occur always in the winter for us. Slam. Her team will be slammed with some things because we'll have Winter Wonderland. And we work with emergency management on the holiday light parade and the pinecone drop. All in December, so December can be really busy for events and marketing. Recreation's always busy.
You doing a New Year's Day event at all?
The city does not put any of that on. Is there a New Year's Eve drop with the DBA? Yes. But the pinecone drop is not a city signature event. But we do provide the public safety aspect to it.
What about the parade?
The holiday light parade?
That's Chamber of Commerce. I know.
Yep. The signature event in the winter is Winter Wonderland.
I don't know if I will be prepared for the next meeting. I'm close, but I am preparing some kind of like breakdown of how hosting different league sports benefits our community. So like hosting tournaments. I know that was something brought up in my very first commission meeting. So I kind of started some kind of presentation for that. Just to talk about what we bring in, based off of other places' numbers of what they bring in for tournaments.
As far as revenue?
Revenue, yeah, city revenue, and what it benefits versus kind of what cost it is. I have like a comparison that I'm putting together for that, and it's just general sports. I do use, I think I use Little League softball, and then of course I use roller derby as an example, but it's supposed to be overarching, like how hosting these things will benefit us if we can put that infrastructure in to host things more.
Yeah, and maybe it's a good idea. I don't know, Commissioner, if you have an idea of how many tournaments and special events we already host and permit on our properties.
Yeah, I know when I've spoken to a few of them, they host some tournaments, but a lot of people feel like they have to go out of town for tournaments rather than being able to host things. So just kind of that aspect of it.
I think it'd be a good idea, maybe, and this could be a good agenda item. I don't want to load up on Haley's schedule, but at least it's November, but literally every weekend is booked in the summertime on our ball fields with a tournament.
Yeah.
Hosted by someone. It's not city staff hosting athletic tournaments. We don't do that. But yeah, they're permitted full.
It was something that was brought up at one of the first meetings I was at, so I was kind of putting something together for that.
Yeah, and they do generate revenue, but the revenue that goes to the city, we've got our fee structure for something like that, but we're not in charge of lodging, heads and beds, things like that. But we are a BBB recipient, so we do benefit from when there are hosted tournaments and events in our community, in our park grounds. Yeah. There's a bunch. I don't know how hard it would be, Haley, just to provide a list of all of them.
Information, if that would be
It's
helpful.
Yeah, to continue on with your project, like it'd be
Yeah,
good
if
if you had the data of what's currently permitted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Average cost to host on city property.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know is if you've gotten any information about pickleball tournaments now that the courts are gonna be.
I do have that information.
Like to hear what that. You go to.
Yeah, I can bring some down. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That could, and that easily is like a 45-minute long conversation, honestly. Because it's a lot. It's wild what you don't realize is all occurring and permitted to occur. 'Cause there's, gosh, 28 parks. And those are outside of even all of the athletic fields kind of thing. It's pretty wild what occurs in any given weekend.
Take the whole meeting to talk about it.
Good ideas. All right. Well, I think that will take care of the meeting. So unless there's anything else. Good meeting. Thanks, everybody. Good topics, good questions. And without any objection, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.